Good evening, Hopkinton, and welcome to the Hangout Hour, HCAM series dedicated to bringing you interesting events and activities that are happening in our community. This is a live program, so please feel free to send us your thoughts and comments. Our contact information will be on screen throughout the program. Tonight, I'm your host, Jim Cousins, along with Mike, Bob, and Tom in the control room, working to bring this show to you. We have three segments for you tonight. We have Dave Daltorio and Michelle Murdock will update us on the Downtown Corridor Project. Then we'll have our DPW Director, John Westerling, in a pre-recorded segment. And then we'll catch up with Ann Click of the Friends of Hopkinton and their Marathon Runner Morgan Woodman. So this is a packed hangout hour, so let's dive right in. And I'd like to start by welcoming Michelle and Dave onto our show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim.
All right. Now, just a recap, just in case anybody in town doesn't know you. You're both very familiar faces. Just tell us what you quickly do.
Michelle, go you first.
Sure, I'll go first. I basically do communications for the Main Street Corridor Project. I worked previously through easement acquisitions, and now we're working through the construction phase. So I'm responsible for distributing the construction advisories, and I'm the primary contact for abutters or residents that have questions that they can direct through me.
Thanks. Dave?
I'm the town engineer here in Hopkinton. I've been assigned the Main Street Corridor Project to oversee as the project manager. I've worked on the project since starting here as the town engineer back in 2010. Back then we were selecting the designers for the project. And now we've been in construction since March of this year. We'll be here for another 2.5 years for the construction of the Main Street project as we start to ramp things up this summer.
All right. Dave, did you say 2010?
Yeah.
So 10 years to get to this point. That is very amazing.
11, right? And it's been, I know there was 5 years or more before I came here where there was planning and efforts about the project. So.
All right. So all of my questions tonight can really be summed up as, hey, what's going on? How's it going? But let's start with a little bit of conversation on the website. You have a website that is dedicated just to information about this project. So, Michelle, can you give us a little overview on what gets put on there and who puts it on and how often it happens? Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me.
There we go. Now we can hear you.
Now you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. HopkintonMainStreet.com is the name of the website. It was developed by VHB, and it is updated bi-weekly or as needed by the town. So content comes from the contractor, comes through us. All the construction advisories, which go out bi-weekly, are posted on the website. There is any other information that is relevant to what's going on. If there are certain parking restrictions or lanes closed or things like that, that would be posted on the website. I think one of the more recent things was when they had to shut off the water for a day or half a day. That was something that was right up on the top of the website. And I think one of the most exciting things on the website now are the live construction videos. So you can actually see 4 different areas of the project in a video live stream. So you can see traffic and work that might be going on in that area.
That is a fantastic. I love those traffic cams. That's so interesting. Especially when I work in a basement, right? I can take a look and see what the weather is like outside as well. That's a bonus. Now, so you have the website that you can go to, but you also have a type of listserv that people can sign up for?
We do have an email that people can sign up for, and it's right on the bottom of the first page of the website. There's just a little link there that says, to receive notices. please sign up here. And I think the last time, I can look and see how many people. I'll have to go look it up. I wrote it down and now I can't find it. But we have, I think it was 429 people signed up.
Nice.
Which, if you look at the population in the town, we would like to see a lot more.
Yeah, yeah.
So now other people may be getting it through other signups. If you're signed up for Hop notices, you'll get it. If you follow the Twitter feed in the town, you'll see it there. It posts to social media and that type of thing. But if you only want Main Street updates and you don't want all the other Hop notices, then you should sign up for that one on the project website.
Okay. So HopkintonMainStreet.com. All right.
Correct.
Thank you.
We also have some construction photo section on the website. Michelle
Correct.
does a lot of work on that. She takes most of the photos herself, doing the walkthroughs kind of once a week or so. So what it's mostly been drainage work that's been going on. It's been the same work since March. But folks may want to log on once we get into some of the different types of work that are coming up, or what's been going on with the drainage work. You know, those big trenches and those big holes that are being excavated. When you drive by, you can take a look at some of the pictures and see what infrastructure actually gets dropped into those holes and trenches.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you for that. Now, I'd like to kind of just get a brief overview of how is the project going? How many phases are there? Where are we along the process? But really, like, work has started. How is it going?
Yeah, the work's on schedule with the contractor. They've hit, you know, what the first type of work they want to do is all the underground kind of work. Anything we have to do excavations and trenching and dig holes. Because as folks may or may not know, you know, as the project progresses, once all that underground work is done, they're going to be relocating the curbs and putting in the bike lane and putting in sidewalks on both sides of the road, doing all the realignment of the roadway and realignment of the intersections. So putting in the new traffic signals, but kind of all the work that leads up to that, you know, you got to get all the work that's say below grade underground first. So that's kind of the first phase of the project is what they've been doing since March, is putting in all the new drainage infrastructure for the town. We've kind of designed the new infrastructure for the town, the drainage system. We're upgrading all the pipes, making the drainage pipes larger. We did a complete basin study. You know, it gets a little out of the construction as part of the design, but it kind of determines, you know, during the storm, how much water is going to hit downtown, and you design the infrastructure to collect that and discharge it, you know, down on Cedar Swamp. So all that work's being done. It's being paid for by Mass DOT. There's probably, I think it's over $1.5 million, couple $1 million worth of drainage work. And drainage work, I mean, you know, catch basins and drain manholes and drain pipe. Everywhere where you see water, when it rains, draining into the street through the grates and basins.
Yeah. Now
it's been interesting. They've been on schedule. They have hit ledge, you know, when they excavate, kind of throughout, which is a little, I mean, the only bump that we've hit in the road for the contractor. You don't typically plan on that. We did several borings. We did many borings. Boring is it's a little 12-inch drill where you kind of drill down 12, 15, 20 feet to see if there is ledge or something. And you know, we didn't hit any. So that's just one of the surprises during construction, because of subsurface conditions. You never really know what they're going to be until you dig the whole trench and dig the hole for the manholes. But,
right.
That's probably been the most noise and the most work so far going on.
If they need practice working on ledge, they can just come to my house. I got plenty. So Now, were you saying that the drainage system is there larger pipes going in? Is that what you said?
Correct, yeah,
Okay.
the design for the project included, they call it a sub-basin, and any drop of rain that hits Hopkinton and ends up downtown, the designers account for this, in this design. So a lot of the pipes that were taken out of the, are 8 or 12-inch pipe, and we got 18 and 24 going back in.
Okay.
So the much larger collection system, or the capacity, is being increased considerably.
Okay. Now I'm gonna sound really smart for a minute here. So, is the old system being abandoned in place, or is it being taken out?
For the most part, it's being taken out in some spots, other spots where, it's not in conflict with the new drainage system. Um, it will be abandoned in place.
Yeah.
It won't be functional anymore. It
Yeah.
might just be an abandoned pipe, for the
Okay.
most part. None of the existing drain manholes or catch basins, um, will remain. Those are all being abandoned, or covered up, or filled, or they'll most likely be excavated out during some of the other work, like maybe some of the undergrounding and utility work that's going to be coming up.
Okay.
Um,
Boy, I have so many more questions about that because I just actually think that's really interesting. But I want to get to a couple other things. If I have time, I'll come back to that. So, can somebody tell me about where the straightening of the intersection falls on the timeline, and when we might actually see something looking different at that intersection?
Likely scheduled, that type of work, like I said, all the undergrounding work has to happen first, um, before they start moving curb lines. Probably next summer, maybe this time next summer,
Okay.
or this time next year. It's still summer, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I can't remember what month it is anymore. Or, next fall, along those lines. But definitely sometime probably by mid-year, next year or
Okay.
later.
All right, great. Let's talk a little bit for a minute about some of the impacts of the things that happen around our downtown. I'm thinking about the marathon. I'm also thinking about events that happen on the common, like Poly Arts and the Farmers Market and other gatherings that are happening. Um, can either one of you speak to how this project might impact any of those big things coming up, especially the marathon?
Well, today, I don't have specifics on the marathon, but it is expected to take place in person, starting in Hopkinton. So, it will occur as of now, is what we've heard, right, Dave? So,
Yeah, no, there's
the,
lots
the
of planning.
the logistics aren't done yet in
Okay.
terms of,
But there is, there is plans in place. The contractor is aware, in the specifications in their contract. They know they have to have everything cleaned up and cleared out, in the road, in a condition where we can have the marathon.
Yeah.
And we're coordinating directly with public safety, who sits on the marathon committee, the police chief mostly.
Okay.
And we provide him the specific details, and if they need some specific details. But as far as this project, and as the project manager myself is concerned, nothing will be impacted in the marathon. It'll run, I won't say as usual, because last year was not usual, but I think this is the first year where they're changing lots of different, like Michelle said, lots of different details on transporting runners from here to
Right.
there. And so we don't know all the details on where they'll be dropped off, but contractor is aware. They're aware that the week it happens. And we're still just coordinating with the marathon committee and DPW, and public safety, if the contractor will have, start their cleanup, the Friday, the week before, or 3 or 4 days before the weekend.
Okay.
But, and we have had events on the common, I think, already. I think the garden club might have had a plant sale or something.
yeah, and I think the farmer's market has been there. So in the questions, we've been asked those questions in the past, and the answers were that, yes, some of those events will still occur.
Great.
So that's all good news.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
And anything that wants to happen on the common still goes through Park and Recs.
Right.
And we've been informed, and we inform the contractor that we're not to interfere with anything on the common. So I will make
Okay.
sure that nothing that is usually there can occur as usual.
Okay. Now, I'm not aware of where these things may be, but on a very local level, bus stops when school starts up at the end of this month, beginning of next month, are there school bus stops that are along this route that will be affected, or things we should know about?
Yeah, any existing bus stop on Main Street is will be impacted by these activities. Public safety is out there to maintain, for the most part, to date, we've been able to maintain 2 lanes of traffic through the work zone. Public detail, the police details, I'm sorry, have been given, instructions to give priorities if and when they see buses coming. Should we have, there may be some occasions that are coming up where we have to go down to 1 lane on Main Street, and there'll be 2-way traffic, but it'll be police details will be out there letting traffic go, then stop it and let it go from the other direction. We are coordinating with Susan and the other over at the school for the bus routes, and in case we have any detours, the schools aren't going to be surprised by any of it.
Yep. Okay.
But, pedestrians and bikes all should be able to be travel through the work areas. Police details again, and the contractor provide travel ways, sidewalks, or if you have to cross the road, if the sidewalk on one side isn't open, the police details are there to make sure.
Okay.
All
right. We're down to about 30 seconds. So the last question I want is the cars. I understand, there are details, there are cones all over the place. How about people who are using that space, such as pedestrians and bicyclists? Is there any special information that they should be looking for, or details they should be aware of as they're moving on through?
Use caution as if you were in a car, but nothing special. Keep an eye out for any of the signs. Sometimes sidewalks might be closed, and those signs will be posted, and the police details will help them cross at the designated areas. But yeah, it's kind of self-awareness.
Yeah, and Dave, we should maybe put out there that we would not encourage people to enter active work zones.
You're correct.
Right? So,
Yeah, the active work zones can sometimes be in areas of curiosity for folks.
Yeah.
And they end up, just slowly
Peeking.
creeping in a little closer and a little closer. It can get dangerous if people are in there who aren't part of the construction crew. So they should stay out of the work areas, but there'll be ways to get designated ways around the work areas.
Right.
Great. Hey, thank you both for coming on, and I look forward to catching up with you later, seeing how things progress.
All right, that was quick. All right, Jim.
Okay.
Yep, thanks a lot.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Our next segment is a pre-recorded segment. Mike Terosian interviewed. So please enjoy as we roll it.
Thanks, Jim. Hey, John, thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Mike. How are you, sir?
Oh, it's great. Always great to have you on the show to get caught up in. It's been a while since we had you last, so I got a huge list right now.
It's been too long. We need to do this more frequently just so that I can let the good folks of Hopkinton know the great work that we're doing here at the DPW.
Excellent. I like to hear that. So let's just start off. So you just had your hazardous waste collection day on Saturday. How'd
That's
that
correct.
go?
That's correct. We had 470 residents of the town of Hopkinton who came through with everything from old unused gasoline to oil to paints to pesticides. And we took in quite a bit of material from all those folks who ran from 8 in the morning until early afternoon. But it really does a great job. It does 2 things. One, it takes care of hazardous waste, which would otherwise be disposed of in a manner that's not good for the environment. So it protects the environment, and it also protects for example, our firefighters. If we happen to have a fire in a home that's got gasoline that's an explosive, or anything that they would come into contact with or could be dangerous. So it's great for the environment. It's great for the community overall. So we thank those 470 folks who brought all the materials in and did the right thing and got rid of them in the right manner.
And excellent. And you try to accomplish this once or twice a year?
We have budget to do that once per year. And last year we ran it was during COVID. We had about 480 folks. So we get a great turnout each and every year.
Oh, that's outstanding. Is there some things that they bring in that you just can't take?
There are a couple of small or few items that we can't take, and that's only because the company that does the work for us, they don't have a proper disposal site. So in those instances, they describe to the residents why they can't take it, and then how the residents can best properly dispose of that material.
All right, so they get the advice. That's excellent.
Yeah.
So that's good. Successful time done every year. And I just want to remind people at home, not just your hazardous waste. You don't want to dump nothing down the drain. You don't want to dump medications, old medications. You can bring those right to the police station. They have a drop-off box for that as well. And if you don't know what to do with anything, you give the fire department or you give the DPW a call, and they will point you in the right. They may be able to take care of it, or they'll point you in the right direction. So that's excellent. So a lot of work going on in town. So I'm just gonna go down my little list here. You got some repaving going on some of the streets, like parts of West Main, parts of School Street, and I noticed parts of Legacy Farm, it said on the notice. Can you clarify that for me a little?
Sure. When Legacy Farm was constructed, the old Rafferty Road, which ran from Cedar Street to Wilson Street, that was renamed Legacy Farms Road North for continuity purposes. So when you see the fact that we're paving what's today Legacy Farms Road North, it's actually the old Rafferty Road. And that pavement is very old, very distressed, and in dire need of paving. And if I can, Mike, just to explain, we're using a new process this year, which, speaking of environmentally friendly, it's a less expensive and it's a more environmentally friendly method. And it's called cold in-place recycling. If folks are familiar with the old processes that we'd use, we would either grind up the top 2 inches of pavement, haul it away and bring in new pavement, or we would fully construct the roadway by grinding everything into one, the gravel, the pavement, and we'd have to remove some of that material. This cold in place recycling, it's a fabulous process in that there's a train of trucks that go up the roadway and they scrape off the top 2 or 3 inches of old pavement and they immediately mix it with Portland cement and liquid asphalt, and they put it back down on the road instantaneously. And what that does is we no longer have to haul aggregate or the stone away. We don't have to pay for disposal of it. We don't have to replace it with new aggregate. We don't end up with roads that are just in a gravel state for several days or maybe even weeks, which causes dust problems and runoff if we get heavy rain. So it's a process that we're very excited about this year. And we're looking forward to great results on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different roadways.
That's excellent. So is with the Portland cement going into it, does that what helps it stick to the surface that was left?
That's right. If you picture they're taking up old, dried out pavement. They're adding Portland cement to bind it together, liquid asphalt, which also helps bind it together, and water, which those 3 components, when mixed with the old bituminous concrete, it creates a base course of pavement. And then we come along and we put on a top course of 1.5 inches of pavement. They've done this successfully. If you've ever driven Route 85 from Hopkinton into Milford, once you cross the Milford line, 2 years ago, they did the same process. So that's held up very well. And you end up with a brand new roadway that is, again, it's a faster process, it's environmentally friendly, and it saves the community money, which means we can do more roads with the same amount of money that's appropriated.
Oh, that's perfect. Any way you can save $1 or $2, that's great. All right, so that work is going on right now, and everyone's, my favorite joke is that everyone loves New England, the seasons in New England. Everyone thinks we got 4. I believe we only have 2. We have winter and construction. So with the construction continuing, I love the fact seeing the new water main going up Hayden Row. What will that do for us?
So there's an old 6-inch water main which runs from roughly the Milford line up to approximately Chestnut Street. And we're replacing that with an 8-inch water main. And what that'll do for us is provide more water to that section of town, which helps out for firefighting purposes. If you picture a 6-inch water main, over time, inside of that water main, materials build up and it tuberculates and it just closes down the size of the pipe diameter. So this will allow us to run more water out there. It will help with the quality of water. Not that there's anything wrong with the current quality, but the pipe is going to be clean on the inside. And it will help for firefighting purposes as well. We'll get more water out into those areas should there be a fire.
So, and I'm assuming that you're going to leave the existing 6-inch in place and abandon in place?
That's correct. Yeah,
Have
it's
you-
more cost effective for us to just abandon it in place. So we will take the services that serve all of those residences and businesses along that route. We'll connect them into the new main once that new main is complete and it has been pressure tested and it's been chlorinated to ensure that the inside of the pipe is clean and the water in there can be consumed.
Have you seen inside of that old main at all? What diameter we would be at some sections?
We haven't yet, only because we're running the new main on the opposite side of the street, so we haven't dug up the old main at all. But we may have an opportunity to take out a piece and we'll be able to determine how small that 6-inch got with all its tuberculation and buildup, how small it's gotten. So at some point we may cut out a piece and I'll share that with you.
Excellent. I'd love to see that. And if you guys are taking a pool on how many inches diameter, put me down for 4 1/4.
Okay, you got it.
All right. And speaking about the water, the annual water quality report came out in June. And reading the report, which basically says our water is awesome, which if anyone ever drinks the water, they know that. But one of the things that were in the report, they still talk about lead being in some homes today. And I think about many years ago, I mean, when I was a kid, they were getting rid of lead everywhere. They got it out of the gasoline, they got it out of the pipes, they got it out of the homes in the paint and everything. So is lead still an issue in town?
So the issue of there's something called the lead and copper rule, which requires us to comply with DEP and EPA's requirements that we have testing, annual testing, and we actually go into folks' homes or we have them draw the sample for us, and we test that for lead content and copper content. And it's important to understand that this is really a test of the corrosivity of the town's water that we're providing. At our water sources and in our water mains, when we do our test, we don't show any lead or copper. So if we find that there's lead or copper in the samples of the folks' homes, what that comes from is old pipes in the home, which may be copper pipes, there may be lead pipes, which is less likely than the fact that there may be lead joints in those. And some of the older faucets or fixtures have lead in their actual, the construction of those fixtures. So when we hear that folks have lead or copper in the homes, what that means is that the water that's getting into the homes, if it sits in those pipes for an extended period of time, for example, if you're away for the weekend and you come back and you've got older pipes or older fixtures, it may introduce very small microscopic levels of lead and copper. And if you've got an older home like that, or if you've got older fixtures, the best thing to do, remember the water's sitting in those pipes. So if it's been in those pipes for a long period of time, first thing in the morning or as soon as you get back, just let that cold water faucet run for 30 seconds to a minute. And what that does is it flushes out the water that's been sitting in the pipes and potentially picking up anything that's in those pipes in the home, and it's flushing it out with the fresh, clean water from the pipes in the street. And if folks have a problem with they don't want to waste the water, you can always, when you're running that 30 seconds worth of water, you can fill a water jug, like a gallon water jug, and you can use that to water the flowers or plants in your home or outside.
Yeah, because it's not going to bother the soil at all. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But
what we found, Mike, was that our water quality, when we're doing our lead and copper sampling, we fall well within the limits for lead and copper, and folks can go ahead and enjoy their water with a peace of mind that we're not sending lead or copper into your homes. But again, older homes, older pipes, older fixtures, just let that run first thing in the morning for 30 seconds to a minute.
Excellent. Oh, that's good to know. All right, so what am I fit? Well, let's talk a little bit more on water. So on the other end, talking about storm drainage and how we work with conservation to keep the storm waters clean. I noticed a bunch of tips showing up on Twitter. Washing your car on the grass or gravel instead of your asphalt driveway is better, and that's better for what reasons?
So all of that, all those tips that you saw there, those are requirements, and it's just good for the residents to know how to keep the stormwater clean so it's not polluting our rivers and our lakes and our streams. But we have to follow EPA issued an MS4 permit 7 years ago now. And that has new requirements in there for the number of times we have to sweep the streets, number of times we have to clean catch basins, number of times that we have to send out public education like that. So what that does is if you're washing your car, if you wash it on the grass or gravel in your yard as opposed to on the pavement, what it does is the water then will percolate down through the soil as opposed to running directly down your driveway, down the street and into a catch basin and directly into a river or stream. So if folks are using a product to wash their car or their wheels that is dangerous for the environment, it will take it, and as opposed to sending it right into the stream, or it might affect the fish and the turtles and the frogs, it actually gets it down into the groundwater, and that soil helps to filter out any impurities. So you just have to be careful that if you're washing it on your lawn, that you're not using something that will burn or otherwise kill your lawn. So it's important that you're careful with where that runoff goes, because it goes somewhere and it will end up in a fish, in a stream, excuse me, or a pond. So be careful what you're using and be careful where that water ends up.
Right. And of course, the other thing too is your storm drains. What goes down storm drains?
Any amount of rainwater that falls from the sky and it hits the ground, it is either going to percolate through the soil, or if it's hitting a hard surface like your rooftop that's got a gutter that runs to the driveway, if it hits the driveway, if it hits a parking lot, if it hits the roadway, it's going to end up in those catch basins or those storm drains, which are the graded structures that you see on the side of the road. And from there, it has to go somewhere, and where all that water goes, it goes to the nearest wetland, stream, pond, lake. So it's very important that no litter gets in there, which is why we have to clean out the catch basins, that no silt gets in there or fine impurities, which is why we have to sweep the streets once or twice per year, depending upon the street. And why it's important that folks realize that even if it's hitting your lawn, with the amount of rain that we've had lately and the levels of heavy rain, a light rain will percolate through the lawn and through the soil. But those heavier rains, they will rush off of the lawns and end up in those catch basins. So that's why it's important. We're always talking about dog waste, that you collect dog waste and you dispose of it properly. Whenever we're fertilizing our lawns, that we're using fertilizers that are environmentally friendly, because they ultimately end up either into the soil, or during heavy rains, they end up into those water bodies, and that can really affect the environment and those creatures that are living in those waters.
So when you're picking up the dog waste, folks, catch basins are for water. Waste basins are for the waste. Those are above ground. Do not just take your little baggie and fluck it into the gutter, because once you send that into the gutter, it's now you got the plastic on top of the waste itself. So you're really causing some troubles. So, but by picking up the litter, you basically number one, you're keeping the town clean, but you're also when you don't pick it up, you put a new item to work. You have something new that you got in April that we didn't get a chance to talk about. Picking up your litter. Picking up the litter, your litter truck.
Yeah. So litter control has been an ongoing challenge for us. it's unfortunate that litter ends up on the side of the road. It gets there by many different methods, but litter is something that is a challenge for us. It's kind of like I liken it to painting the Golden Gate Bridge. Once you paint the entire Golden Gate Bridge, it's time to start over at the beginning again. And even if we were to go, even if we had a dedicated team that was able to do every road throughout the year, by the time we finish, it's time to start again because litter has found its way back onto the edge of the roads. So it used to be a very manual process in that we would go around and we'd either have, we've been very fortunate and we've had some folks that would come in that would volunteer to collect litter, but it was a manual process. Whether it was volunteers or DPW employees, actually had to physically pick it up by hand. So with litter being an issue and also this past year, COVID being an issue, we find lots of masks on the side of the road, and just with COVID, you don't know what you're touching. You don't want to be touching that. We don't want our employees to be touching it. So we were able to purchase a litter control vacuum, and it's actually a large vacuum unit that mounts in the back of one of our trucks, and we drive down the road, and it's got a big 8-inch wide mouth on the end of the vacuum, and we're able to just walk down the street. So we're able to collect the litter faster, and we don't have to touch it by hand. So it keeps our employees safer, and it also then helps us to clean up the roadways faster.
That's great. Always being more efficient, always looking out for safety. John, thanks again. We're running out of time, and I want to promise that you can come back next month with us, because the big thing that we didn't get to today was the lake drawdown. We need a big update, and that's going to take some time. So thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks for the opportunity, Mike, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Great.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, back to you, Jim.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mike, for running that interview, and our thanks to our DPW Director, John Westerling, for making that time. And I'm happy to say that he really had a great time, and we'll be seeing more of him in the future. So right now it's a live show. We have a programming note. We unfortunately will not be seeing Ann Click tonight, but she did send her stand-in, Don Cronin, who's also on the committee. So Don Cronin and Morgan Woodman from the Hopkinton, Friends of Hopkinton, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right. Now we're here, and we're going to be talking about Morgan and the upcoming Boston Marathon. But just in case people don't know, we're going to talk for a minute about the Friends of Hopkinton. Okay? And in a nutshell, Don, how did Friends of Hopkinton come to be?
Well, it came to be in 2015 when Hopkinton celebrated their 300th anniversary. A committee was established to celebrate all sorts of events that year. And I had the pleasure of going to several of those events, led by Ann Click and I know Michelle Murdock and several other people on the committee. But because that was such a success, they decided, you know what, we need to keep this going and make this an annual event. So that's really how it came to be. And we did our first Hopkinton Family Day in 2017. We weren't, unfortunately, because of COVID, we weren't able to have the meeting. We won't be able to have the event this year. But that's essentially how it started. From that event, the town's 300th anniversary, Hopkinton Family Day started. And I can talk a little bit more about Hopkinton Family Night, but that's essential to answer your question. Yeah, that's how it started.
I will say, if there's anybody who's watching this who hasn't been to that event, it is truly something. It is truly something. You know, oftentimes I talk about yesteryear and, like, you know, times were slower and, like, people were really together and connected in community, and the Family Fun Day is such a great exhibition of that. You know, so many different groups in the community, as well as just people who live in the community, just coming together and having a really, really fun day. So I highly recommend, if somebody hasn't been there, the next time you're able to put that on, that people should definitely see that. And I have not heard about any plans for a family fun night. What is that?
Well, it's we are going to be doing it February of 22. This coming February, we're going to do it. It'll be our third family night. It just, you know, throughout the year, the group meets once a month all year, and we just decided, you know, once a year, we don't want to wait once a year. We want to do something in the fall and do something in February So someone came up with Family Night, Hopkinton Family Night, and essentially it's we have had it at the Woodville Rod and Gun Club, and the theme has really been with that to have karaoke. The first event we did, a lot of children sang karaoke. We had ham and beans, and all sorts of desserts and food catered to us. So it was a lot of fun. We did that for 2 years. And I emceed the most recent one. We worked trivia into it, had trivia games and prizes, and a lot of local businesses sponsored the event, and we were able to hand out certificates for the winning trivia questions. So yeah, that kind of just came as an extension of Family Day. So now we can say we do 2 events per year. Family Day isn't to the extent of Family Night is not to the extent of Family Day.
Yeah.
That's a lot more involved, the Family Day. So
Right.
that's how that came about.
So that's really cool. And in fact, perhaps a little bit later on in the segment, we'll talk a little bit more about the committee and how you work on these things. But right now, one of the important things is it's not free to put on the Family Day or even the Family Night. So Morgan is connected, and Morgan, tell us what you're doing.
I'm going to be running the Boston Marathon for the Friends of Hopkinton, and I'm really excited, and I'm working to donate some money there, so I'm trying to fundraise and collect that.
Okay. So have you always been a runner?
I have not always been a distant runner,
Okay.
but I used to sprint. I did track in high school, and distance running is kind of new to me. I did attempt the Newport, Rhode Island Marathon last year,
Okay.
but it was virtual because of COVID.
Yep.
So this will be my first real feeling marathon. I'm so
Right.
excited with crowds and a start and finish line.
All right. So I am not a runner, and I don't know anything about running, but I suggest you not sprint. Yeah.
Oh no,
26.2
I will
miles.
not be.
And the Newport, though it was virtual, you actually did run
Yes,
a full marathon.
I did.
And how was that? It's still your first one. How was it? How did it go?
It was painful.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was really fun, and I felt really happy when I was done with it. It's nice when you run distance because you kind of you can take your time. There's no, well, for me at least, I take my time.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to win it, and I think it's really great. You have no one to beat but yourself. So
I think that's really great.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's a really great attitude to take with that, and especially with what you're going to be doing for the Boston Marathon. It's like you're running not only just for yourself, but for a cause that you believe in.
Yeah.
So how did you get connected with Family Fun Day? How's that story?
So one of my best friends, actually Mr. Cronin's daughter, she reached out to me and she said, "Oh, my parents are part of this wonderful organization. They're looking for a marathon runner. Would you be interested in running?" And I was like, yes, absolutely. She knows how much I've always said that I wanted to run Boston. Growing up in Hopkinton, I think
Yeah.
I always thought I would someday, but I did not think it would come this soon. So
you were like, oh, I've run a virtual marathon. I've done one. Sign me up for the Boston Marathon.
yeah, it's a dream come true. So I was really excited when she reached out, and then
Wow.
it was so much better that it's for such a wonderful cause. I love everything that they do, and it's definitely so great to have something for the community.
Yeah. So, just very briefly, I think that it's so cool that you say that. It's like a dream come true because, Boston Marathon is a really awesome marathon.
Yeah.
And this year, I think there's a lot of pent up,
Yeah.
excitement and interest that's going to be going into this.
Definitely.
So, so that was great. You were like, absolutely, I'm ready to do this. And so what is your goal? Like, how does this interface with fundraising for the Friends of Hopkinton?
My goal is to raise $5,000
Okay.
for them, and that will help put on these events, which are really great because for the community, when they put them on, they're free. And I think it's wonderful that everyone else can enjoy that. So I'm really hoping that I can get that goal and maybe even more
Yeah.
and help them out. And I think it'll be wonderful.
Well, I think you got a couple things really going for you. Number one, you're connected to the Boston Marathon. Everybody in Hopkinton knows and loves that event. And you are the Friends of Hopkinton, which is great. And with the types of programming that you put on, is really wonderful. So $5,000 goal. Great. Now, if people are watching this show and they're thinking, you know what, that Morgan looks like she's going to make it. I think she's a winner, and I want to support the Friends of Hopkinton. Where are we going to go to connect?
On the Friends of Hopkinton website,
right.
there's a tab. This is Marathon Runner, and there's my link to my GoFundMe fundraising page.
Okay.
So
All right. Friendsofhopkinton.org, right?
That's correct, yep,
All right. And you look for the marathon tab.
yeah.
yes.
Okay. All right. So, Don, we're just talking here. Any concerns?
No, not at all. I know that I know she said she's been training. I'm sure training hard, and in the summertime,
Yeah.
with the heat. So of course, July was very wet, so I don't know if maybe that cooled you off a little bit.
Yeah.
No, we have all the faith in the world in Morgan, and she's going to do a great job. And
Yeah.
just to see, like you say, to being here from Hopkinton and being able to run in such a great event, we're thrilled for her. We're really very grateful to her for doing this. So we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
How is the training going? Have you been on parts of the marathon
I
course?
haven't done the course yet, but
Okay.
I've definitely been doing hills.
Yeah.
I'm preparing hard for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I run every morning, so I'm
Okay.
excited. I'm trying really hard. I want to.
That's really good.
do well.
This is the place for it. Just
Yeah.
brief side, I did some biking for fundraising, and we went somewhere, and people out there were like, "Oh, the hills are so hard," and I was like, "It's all flat. Everything's flat here."
Yeah.
So New England is great for
It's good training.
getting you trained to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Definitely.
How we gonna know how things are going? How the updates gonna come in? Where we gonna look for stuff?
So I update everyone on my Instagram page,
Okay.
which is Healthy Hits the Spot 101.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I like to post updates of the runs that I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
and how it's going, so everyone can see my progress and know that I am running.
That's great. Is Healthy Hits the Spot 101?
Yep.
That's great. Is that on your website too?
If it isn't, we'll get it on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's really great, and we should catch up for just a couple of quick interviews as your training is progressing, as we're getting closer to kind of keep awareness going with that.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I just had a quick question for Morgan, if I could. I know that the tradition with runners is they usually the night before they stock up on carbs. I don't know if you are planning to do that. I mean,
I think
a
so.
lot-
Yeah,
Mhm,
that's what I
good.
always did before track meets and soccer games. It was always spaghetti dinners. So
Mhm.
usually when I go on my long runs on Saturday, I always have something like that
Oh,
before.
great, good.
So I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but that's what I do.
Well, I stock up on carbs most every night, so it works for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
All right. Now, where else are you promoting this? Just out of curiosity.
On our website, word of mouth.
Mhm.
I don't know if we have a flyer printed up, but yeah, we're just having meetings now again. So, but it's mainly the website, and for the most part, yeah. the
Right.
website.
Well, now you're on the
Oh, that's
multimedia
right.
empire, so we'll push that out as far and
That's
wide as we
great.
can as well too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
appreciate that.
So we got a couple more minutes. So I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more, Don, about what it's like. You're on the board or the
The
committee?
committee.
The
yeah,
committee.
Yep.
How big are you, and how often you meet, and what do you talk about?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, we're about 18 members strong. Yeah, as I say, we hadn't met for the last several months, but now that we're going to know that we are doing the event in 2022, we are meeting again. So we get together monthly and just discuss what's coming up for family night, family day. A lot of planning goes into getting different groups and activities involved.
Yeah.
Really to let the folks know that there is no charge to take part in any of the activities. However, folks do have to pay for food. We probably have 6 to 8 food trucks that sign up and are there. But really, it's there for folks to enjoy. We have entertainment all day long with a lot of well-known groups that are from Hopkinton, as well as some that aren't from Hopkinton. But games, bouncy houses. The Lions Club does a dunk tank, which is always a lot of fun. So when it's a warm day, it's nice. People don't mind getting in the tank if the water's a little chilly. So, but just games that are contributed by different nonprofits in town. Again, it's all free except for the food. But again, there are some expenses for us to run the event, and it's nice to know that Morgan's going to run and help support those expenses.
Right.
So yeah, about 18 members.
Okay.
And let me just take this opportunity to say that we're always looking for new members. New members can bring in fresh ideas. So please, if anybody's interested, it's friendsofhopkinton.org. You're welcome to attend a future meeting as well. So contact us, and we'd love to talk to you and think about joining the club.
Great. So I know that this is a visibility thing for you, and I believe I had heard that you're going to be at Polyarts.
Yes. Yep. We will be at Polyarts, promoting the club and the upcoming events, and we may have some little giveaways, some crafty giveaways at Polyarts. So look for us there. Yeah, we look forward to that. Hopefully it'll be a nice day. But we appreciate Polyarts having given us an opportunity to promote our organization and our mission.
Okay. So Don, how long have you been a member?
Pretty much since the beginning. You know, I belong to the Lions Club as well, and when they were meeting on the same night as the Lions Club, so I would have a Lions Club meeting and then rush over to the Friends of Hopkinton meeting. So, but pretty much since the beginning I've been on. And yeah, I really enjoy it a lot. It's a great group of people, and it's a lot of fun too. So yeah, highly recommend it if you're interested.
So I'm interested in why did you join the Friends of Hopkinton? What's your thinking?
Just because I saw the event was just such fun as a spectator or someone to go as a participant, and I just thought I want to give back and be part of the committee that puts it all together. You know, I get out there and I'm one of the MCs. I always have a tough act to follow because there are two MCs. The first MC for the first part of the day is Carter Allen from WZLX.
Yes, yeah.
He's the first one. So I always feel like under pressure to perform well after Carter. He's a seasoned professional broadcaster in Boston radio. So, so I enjoy doing that as well. But I like to work behind the scenes and be part of the. They don't have me be a treasurer or anything. They wouldn't have me be the treasurer and handle the money, but I get to be in on a lot of the decision making. So that's why I find that gratifying.
You know, Carter Allen's got nothing on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
he's in radio. You're in TV.
Yeah. Right. That's true. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And in fact, I just think that if nothing else, the fact, Don, that you are in the Hopkinton Lions Club and in Friends of Hopkinton really says a lot about you. If people didn't even know you,
Thank you.
you know, you have a real heart for your community.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
And I think that is so important in this town. You know, this town, every town is unique, but this town is really cool. This town has a lot going for it, and it's people that like they chip in and they help out, and you know, they just are sharing. There is a lot of great things to recommend Hopkinton. Now, Morgan, were you born and raised here?
Yep, my
Okay.
whole life.
All right. And were you a product of the public schools?
Yep.
All right. So you are a true Hopkintonian through and through.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, so I'm assuming you'll have a large cheering contingent at the
Yeah.
starting line too as you go by.
I will.
That's just gonna be like a really, really awesome opportunity.
Yeah.
And this is the first time you have a runner?
No, we had a runner last year, someone from another
okay.
country, and he wasn't able to participate this year. So
I see.
And so it really worked out. She was a good fit for Morgan. She was, I think, looking for something, and then, so yeah, it worked out well for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's great. Well, I want to thank you both for coming in and
you.
letting our community know what's going
Thank
on.
you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
All right. We'll be talking to you soon too before the event.
Yes, I can't wait.
All right. Friendsofhopkinton.org and click
That's
on the
right.
marathon page.
Yep.
All right. Well, best of luck, Morgan.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you,
Appreciate
Don.
it.
You're
Tell
welcome.
Ann I
Thanks.
said hi.
I
and
sure
missed
will.
her.
Yeah. I will.
Okay. And thank you all for tuning in to the Hangout Hour. We hope you'll come back for more stories and events in and about Hopkinton. We're actually going to be taking a break for the rest of August as we revamp this show and get pre-production started on a couple of new series. So enjoy the summer, and we'll see you back here the first week of September. I'm Jim Cousins, and on behalf of Mike Terosian, Bob Hamilton, and Tom Nappy in the control room, good night. All right. So they're going to